Hey everybody, this is Perch, and we are getting close to the March solicitations for Marvel and DC, and I believe there's going to be some decent surprises, some bigger things. Both companies are going to kind of come up firing both in March and April, with hoping to build up some momentum for the summer. So some titles that we've been waiting on for a long time are undoubtedly going to come. Obviously, I think it started teasing on Twitter, but finally the third volume of the White Knight series by Sean Murphy is going to come out. Been very anxious to be able to talk about that publicly, so anxious for that. But that appears to be the time frame kind of right in there, based on what appears in the announcements. That's what we can say publicly. But this first, we're going to talk about, this we're really talking about the next evolution of the X-Men. So the X-Men is moving into their Hickman-free era. And it has been dubbed Destiny of X. It follows up from the 10 Lives of Wolverine, 10 Deaths of Wolverine series that is promising to kind of throw the entire mutant world on its ear. There have been a number of promo images that seem to suggest that we're going to start exploring the various lives of Moira as part of how all this goes down. So not sure entirely what that all looks like, but that does appear to be at least a piece of this. But Destiny of X, much like coming out of House of X, Powers of 10, we've got another one of these family kind of portrait images. And in this case, we've got also the announcement of 9 titles that are coming out of it. You remember that charming days when the X-Men coming out of House of X, we had Dawn of X, and there were 6 comics. And we were debating, can they sustain 6 comics? I mean, 6 right out the gate is ambitious. Well, we're getting 9, and these appear to be, I was going to say ongoing series, but who really? I mean, everything is a limited series technically. So, looking at this list, there's a few things that we can dissect from it, and we can also kind of get a little bit from the image. We also know a few of the teams here. So, biggest of which, of course, X-Men will be returning. X-Men, currently done by Jerry Duggan, does not appear. I would be kind of surprised if they renumbered that with a new number 1, but hey, it's Marvel. Who knows what could happen? But since they just launched that book, it would be pretty crazy to relaunch it as a number 1. So they will most likely do that. We're also getting Wolverine by Ben Percy continuing, and Wolverine's going to be coming out of the 10 Lives, 10 Deaths series, so a little bit more prominent character there. It was funny, when Marvel debuted the little promo images for Destiny of X, they had, of course, Destiny, and they had, I believe Mystique was in there, and they had Magneto. They had several that they were showing kind of in this promo image. But what was humorous was they had Wolverine in one of them. And a bunch of the Twitter people just got very salty of that's not Wolverine. Laura is Wolverine. When are we going to get Laura? And it was that kind of just toxic bullshit that, you hate to see on any front. And it also, it's just silly. I mean, look, Wolverine has had several motion pictures. He's obviously a major character. He was one of the first X-Men characters to get a solo title. He's been part of the franchise for quite some time and sells well. So enough with enough, you dummies. But anyway, so Wolverine continuing, arguably from Ben Percy. New Mutants continuing in theory by Vita Ayala, although that has been delayed pretty significantly through a combination of, I think, the printer delays and printer problems, and then the 10 Lives Wolverine, 10 Deaths of Wolverine, so they need to push it off further. And then I think printing delays through the 10 Lives, 10 Deaths has pushed it off further. So we'll see New Mutants again sometime in the late spring, it appears, at least from how some of these delays are happening. And then X-Force is returning. And in theory, again, by Ben Percy, we haven't heard about a change of creative staff. That's not the case for Marauders, which is the last of the returning books that we have before we get to the new ones. So if you're keeping track at home, 5 returning books, 4 new books. So Marauders is changing to be written by Steve Orlando, who's doing the annual, and then we'll be continuing on with the book. So Steve Orlando kicking off. They wanted to make room for him somewhere in the X office, so there he is. He's there. And then a new title, but also sort of a returning title, is Legion of X. And Legion of X, at least from what we believe, because there's been hinted at several places, is Cy Spurrier, who had done Way of X, is transitioning to Nightcrawler's Legionnaires team that was part of the storyline of Way of X. So that's the belief of what Legion of X is going to be. Then we get a couple new ones. We get Knights of X. Knights of X, from again, taking a wild shot here, but appears to be more of kind of that's where Wolverine and Magneto were going to show up. Again, maybe completely wrong there, but that was at least somewhat what I had heard. I heard a different theory, so you can pick A or B, that Knights of X was going to be the continuation of Excalibur with a different name, taking part of Betsy Braddock's role as Captain Britain, and so maybe that's it. So you take your pick, one of those two, or maybe something completely different. But that's at least what I believe Knights of X was listed just to be. And then we have X-Men Red. Now, X-Men Red was a Tom Taylor book back in the day. Tom Taylor does not appear to be coming back to the X-Men world. That is certainly not happening. However, what it does look is that X-Men Red is about Oraku and Mars and Storm, the Red Planet. So that's X-Men Red. Yeah, there you go. So there you go. So maybe, again, it could be anything. In this pro image, we also have Deadpool in there. X-Men Red could also be referring to a Wetworks type team, but they have X-Force, so would that make a lot of sense? Probably not. But anyway, that's what that feels like. And then finally, we have Immortal X-Men. Now, no idea what this is. However, there has been this comment of one of the missing books here is S.H.I.E.L.D., that Al Ewing might play off of his Immortal Hulk run by bouncing over and doing Immortal X-Men, and that's where he's going to play into all this. But I again, no idea. Immortal X-Men can also be referring to the storyline they have going on right now, which is that the X-Men can't die, basically, as a result of the Five and everything that's been going on there. Don't know if Destiny and Inferno changes that, but this is basically what it all looks like. A couple of things to point out from the big image. Juggernaut's in there, kind of returning into the fold. Juggernaut and Deadpool have a series right now going on Marvel Unlimited that just got kicked off. We see not very many of the Oraku characters, just Iska, I believe, is in there. And then we have Somnus, which was the new character that was part of the Marvel Pride issue that Steve Orlando put out. So don't know if Somnus is going to show up in Marauders, so Steve Orlando can keep working on that character or somewhere else. In general, in this promo image, we don't have a lot of, say, the New Mutants characters that are currently running in that title. We also do see the Blindfold character, which is there next to Destiny. So this Inferno, in theory, is taking care of the whole precog situation. And then, there's not a lot of other surprises. Shatterstar's in there. Maybe they do something with him. Richter as well. Those two have been an on and again, off again couple. Omega Red is still alive, apparently, and in there. There's enough pseudo, quote unquote, bad guys. We get the Goblin Queen. We have Mr. Sinister. We have Juggernaut. We have Omega Red. It does suggest that there is, again, some level of Hellions type bad guy team that's going to be in here. So somewhere mixed into all this, but we will see. A couple characters from from Dakin, from the X Factor run, and we got Rachel Summers Phoenix in there. So that's this is what we have. In general, a couple thoughts before we wrap up here. Inferno, if you're expecting that to be a major status quo changing thing, it's hard to really look at it that way. If you kind of think about it, Tralla Magneto is going to be a big deal. That's definitely looking like it's not. The original plans for that were apparently it was just going to continue on within X Factor. And if you read that book, yeah, it totally reads like that. And then you have Inferno, which is going on right now. It's Hickman's swan song, or his conclusion, which is halfway through at this point and still working to do flashbacks from the first issue. Then you have the 10 Lives, 10 Deaths of Wolverine, which is status quo changing. And then you have Destiny of X and all these new titles. Marvel is calling this a revamp, which is interesting terminology considering that a lot of the X Office and X fans are saying that the X-Men line is incredibly powerful, making lots of money, doing great. You don't typically revamp something that is doing amazing, but What do I know? I don't know. But this Jordan White basically stated that the journey of the Krakoan age is far from over. Our long-term plan that all of our creators have been working on, our secret council chamber, AE Slack, has only just begun to come for fruition. With the filling of the 2 empty council seats, the reign of X has ended, and it's time for mutant kind to reach for their destiny. So this is what we've got. Are you in? Are you out? This really feels like just continuing to milk this for everything it's worth, even though there's definitely some signs of reader exhaustion in all this. Again, you don't have to buy everything, but it is telling. Our last relaunch here relaunched with 6 books. This new initiative relaunching with 9 books. It's a lot to take in. Anyway, let me know in the comments below if you're in, you're out, what you're reading, what you're not, and we'll continue to look forward to what other things are going to get announced in March and April. Thanks for listening.